Welcome to Meet the Artist. This program is brought to you by Hedberg Public Library and JATV Media Services. I'm your host, Teresa Wynn. Meet the Artist features various local artists whose work will be on display at Hedberg Public Library in monthly exhibits. And in the studio today, we have the exceptionally talented photographer, very well known, one of our featured artists for the month of November, Kim Hoholik. Welcome to the studio, Kim.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. Now, just a little disclaimer, we're friends, but I don't choose the artists I interview, and I was really excited to see you on the list for November. So you have exhibited at Hedberg before. Let's talk about that.
Sure, this will actually be my third exhibit. I started off a couple years ago with featuring the Wisconsin Native American, where it kind of focused on different aspects of the Native American culture. And of course, it was an educational exhibit, as well as having some Native American artifacts included, which was great to be able to do that for my first exhibit.
Yeah.
And then last year, I exhibited on the Native American powwow, focused in Lac du Flambeau. And it was called We Are Still Here, because I also want to emphasize on how far the Native Americans have come and the resilience that they had from being almost exterminated from colonization.
Right. And it was beautiful. I remember looking at both of the exhibits, coming to see them, and your artifacts. You tell us about those, how those were acquired, and kind of your journey to exhibiting and coming up with themes. And
Sure. So I have a Native American teaching elder that helps guide me. And in my first exhibit, it was actually his idea to focus more on the Wisconsin Native American in general. And then he included some of his artifacts into the exhibit. Some of them were very old and very unique. And I was proud to show them off to the public.
Nice. So for those who never saw your previous interview with me, let's talk a little bit about your early entrance into photography. You had told me a story about your brother's camera, right?
Yeah, yeah. I've been interested into photography for years, and back in the 70s and 80s, cameras were a little bit different than what you see now, where everybody has their phone that they could take a picture of anything. But, back in that day, if you wanted an instant photo, you needed Polaroid. So my brothers had Polaroid camera, and I remember sneaking into the bedroom and just shooting away, and got in trouble because the Polaroids are expensive. And I think to this day they're still expensive because they still have Polaroid cameras out there.
Yeah, pretty cool. And in that time, was it then that you were developing your photography skills and you were encouraged, or did that come a little bit later?
That came a little bit later. I mean, I just had the curiosity a lot. I would go into the school libraries and pull out the National Geographic magazines and look at the landscapes and just kind of study, the composition of them, the bright colors of it, and just thought that is something I would love to be able to do. And so I just kind of challenged myself, even with, a cheap 110 camera, to see what I can do with it. So I had many years of practice with composition with cameras, just all different types.
Right. And then was it your dad who had given you a camera?
Yeah, so as I got a little bit older in my late teens, my dad noticed that I had this curiosity for photography and a little bit of the knack for it. So he gifted me my first camera, which was a Canon FTB, and I still have that camera to this day.
I love that. So he really, really encouraged you in your photography. And what are some of your favorite locations for shooting? I mean, I know it's a variety, but...
Yeah, it's a variety. I mean, I have several favorite locations. Landscape is what I really like to photograph. So anything that's kind of picturesque landscape, I like to kind of go more towards that type of style.
Right. And are there other photographers, either, famous or people that you look up to?
Yeah, absolutely. I was introduced to a famous photographer called Ansel Adams by someone who started mentoring me into photography back in the 90s, who
Okay.
was a freelance photographer with National Geographic.
Oh,
And he
wow.
started, yeah, he started showing me like Ansel Adams' work, and I was like just impressed with it because it was landscape. And then later on,
Well, you
you,
sort of came full circle with
yeah,
the National Geographic, how you were so interested as a child, and then
yeah,
you got to work with
absolutely. Yeah,
someone.
that was like ironic that that happened.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then as I get older and I got into digital photography more, I started to follow photography groups and meet up with other fellow photographers. And one that I met up with a few years ago, Doug Richter, kind of took me under his wing and he mentored me. And he has been a photographer for over 40 years and he does amazing work.
Yeah, that's really cool. Then
Yeah.
you share that love of capturing
Yeah, absolutely.
views and special places. So you do this both as a hobby and as a profession. Can you tell us a little bit about both and how they're similar, how they're different?
It can be different somewhat because you're challenged to photograph certain things when you're on assignment through a business. So I'm contracted with local tourism, so I've been getting into tourism photography, and it was something I knew absolutely nothing about, but as I stayed with it and learned what their needs and wants were, I adapted it to it very
Well, you
easily.
could have fooled us because we love your local shots. They're so great, and you've had photographs published for brochures, calendars, something like that.
Yep.
Right.
Last year I made Discover Wisconsin calendar for 2024.
Cool.
Along in that same year, I had a feature photo in Our Wisconsin magazine, so that was like kind of exciting. And then, local brochures in Rock County I'm featured in. This year I made cover of the Janesville Area Visitor's Guide, as well as the Rock County Plat Book.
Oh, wow, really neat. And you brought a couple photos in today, and they're just gorgeous. I guess we'll start with this one next to me.
Sure.
Tell us maybe where that was and
Sure,
what
that
inspired you.
I took a trip to Indiana in April to kind of get a closer look at the solar eclipse and got to photograph that.
Nice.
And leading up to the event of the solar eclipse, did some traveling around to local state parks.
Sure.
And this state park is located north of Bloomington, Indiana. And I happened to just be photographing the waterfalls there. And did not realize that as I was photographing, somebody walked up to the waterfall at the moment that I photographed and was looking at them
Oh,
with
neat.
an Indiana t-shirt on.
I see that.
So that was kind of exciting to capture that.
Yeah, very cool. Because it's not only the beauty of nature, but our capturing our the way we feel in awe of the beauty of nature. Because
Yeah.
everyone has been in that position to witness the power and beauty of a waterfall. I love it. And this one here, that's just stunning. The way the leaves are coming, gathered in that space of water, and the trees that kind of frame the waterfall itself.
Yeah, so this one was taken last fall around October, and
Okay.
the place is called Bond Falls. It's located near Paulding, Upper Michigan, and it's the very first waterfalls that I've ever visited as a kid. My parents took me on a road trip around Lake Superior, and this was our first stop. Never knew that Bond Falls was only like an hour away from where I grew up.
Oh.
So usually when I go home, I like to take a trip up to Bond Falls now and photograph it when I can.
Well, that's really cool because it has a special memory
Yeah.
of a family trip as well as just being gorgeous by itself. So
Right.
I love that. And this year you were hired as one of Art Infusion's photographers to document the event during that time. And were there favorite photos that you have?
Yeah, I mean it's
muralist?
actually like my third art infusion that I've been photographing,
Right.
and I always enjoy it because I get to meet the artist and kind of get to know them a little bit. What was exciting is capturing when they first got started and how they project their image onto the wall before they start to do their painting. And I think my two favorite photos from this year is capturing both muralists as they projected their artwork onto the wall to get ready.
And then the final image did end up, it was exactly like that. It was,
Yeah.
They're just really great. We have so many beautiful murals in town, and to have two more just pop up like that
Right.
was fantastic. So what advice, Kim, would you give to someone who wants to try photography? They're not sure. Maybe they'd like to try doing landscapes. Are there certain tips like times of day, or tell us about that?
The times of day is a typical photographer go-to is the golden hour, which is like early morning or later afternoon when the sun is setting or the sun is rising.
Okay.
It's perfect lighting for photos that you want to take. But in general, it's have an interest, pick out, what you want it to go towards. Do you want to go towards landscape? Do you want to go towards portraiture? Practice with your cell phone. All our cell phones have amazing camera features to them. Get used to that. Get used to doing the composition. And then start doing some research on cameras or the type of camera that you think will work best. Even talk with local photographers and get some advice from them as well.
Nice idea. Those are really good tips. And tell us about some of your past exhibits and where you've exhibited before.
Beyond Hedberg Public Library, I had the opportunity this spring to feature my We Are Still Here exhibit at JPAC during Tales of Our Heritage show. And it was great to be able to feature that exhibit again.
Do you feel like your photography has evolved a bit over time, and how has it changed for you?
All the challenges that I've faced from starting out until now is what helped me develop to where I'm at today. Do I feel I still need a lot of learning? Yes. I'm always wanting to learn and challenge myself more and more. What more can I do?
That's great. That's a really great mindset, that learning mindset, because that always brings growth.
Right.
And even though to my average eye, I think your photography is tops, but to have that attitude where I think I can grow, I think I can learn more, I think I can do better is pretty cool. So about this year's exhibit, you have a water theme. Tell us the meaning behind all of that.
Sure. This will be another Native American educational focused exhibit. It's going to be held in the month of November during Native American Heritage Month. And it's themed water Nibi, which is water in Ojibwe is life or sacred. And I have been doing a lot of involvement with it, like going on water walks with Native Americans, speaking with Native elders about the exhibit. And then I'm going to be doing a lot more traveling in the coming month to finalize my photos for the exhibit, as I'll be heading towards Boundary Waters, Minnesota,
Sure.
which is very sacred to the Ojibwe people. And those waters are very well protected.
That's beautiful. I love that. And you're bringing a kind of awareness as well as education
Yes.
about the importance of water in the Native culture.
Absolutely.
And in ours as well, in our environment. That's really great, Kim, that you're doing that.
Thank you.
I love that. Do you want to give a shout out to your elders and tell us a little bit?
Definitely. Billy Bob Gron, who is always supportive of every exhibit that I've done, and he always gives me his final stamp of approval when I bring ideas to him.
I like that.
And then as I was kind of attending like webinars with Native Americans, came across a webinar where a Native American out of Lac du Flambeau was talking about how she does the water walks.
Okay.
And it was related into what I'm going to do with the exhibit. And I've also photographed her from previous exhibits for the powwow.
Oh, nice.
And so I reached out to her and asked if I could meet up with her and kind of tell her my story of, my direction with this, and she agreed to meet with me. Had a wonderful visit. Her name is Tinker Schumann. She's from the Lac du Flambeau. And I also purchased this lovely book about from her that is about sounds of living, but it also has a poem in there.
And she wrote the book.
Yeah, she wrote this book, and it has a poem in there about water. And when I purchased the book, and she said to me, now open it up and find the poem about water. And it took me a little bit. I found it. And then she says, now read it to me. And it was just kind of an honor to have a native elder, have that much faith in me and be like, okay, read it to me, it was great.
That's very meaningful.
Yeah, and she autographed it for me, so I'm very proud to have this book.
Oh, I love that. So was it difficult to decide what type of photos or which photos to choose for the Hedberg exhibit?
Yeah, it's very challenging, and I'm still working on it. As you know, I'm still traveling to finish up the exhibit, but this year is going to be a huge challenge picking out photos because I've done so many various things for the exhibit that it is going to be a challenge, but I'm hoping that I'm going to pick out the best images that I feel that the public will enjoy.
I'm sure we will. When have we not enjoyed your photos? Are you excited for this?
Oh, yeah.
So are we. We're very excited. I can't wait. Thank you, Kim, for coming in today and giving us a sneak peek of your water-themed photos, and also helping us get to know who you are and the meaning behind all of it.
Thank you.
So great. And we invite the public to come visit the library this month to check out Kim's gorgeous photography exhibit. If you'd like to learn more about Kim Hoholek photography, you can find her information displayed on your screen. Thank you all for joining me today. Please check out this program on JATV Media Services, Spectrum Cable Channel 994. You can also find it on JATV's YouTube channel. Remember, don't wait for another day. Go out and make some wild, whimsical, wonderful art. I'm your host, Teresa Wynn. I'll see you next time on Meet the Artist.